This episode of the Polyhedron Collider Cast is sponsored by eToys World. Go to etoysworld.co.uk/discount/PHC10 for 10% off your first order. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Polyhedron Collider Cast episode 185. I'm Steve Tudor.
I'm Andy and Broken.
I'm Sid Gill.
And I'm Rory Summers. Gents, it's not very long until UK Games Expo, and we have an announcement.
Ooh.
Thank you, Steve. I was waiting for some sort of reaction. Appreciate it. We are going back to the UK Games Expo for another live podcast for the 4th year in a row.
That's not bad.
It is.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so if you'd like to come and see us live and in person at the UK Games Expo, please do. We're going to be there on Friday the 29th, 10 a.m. in the Piazza 3 Dice Room.
Which I think is where we were definitely the last 2 years.
I think so.
So if you're a regular, you'll know where we are. It's not, I believe, Rory, correct me if I'm wrong, it's not ticketed. You don't need tickets. Just come along.
Just turn up.
What we'll probably be doing, since it's the Friday morning, we'll be regaling you with everything we saw at the press preview. So it'll just enough information to target you before you get lost in the halls.
Yeah. And even if you can't come along, Steve, you're normally very good at turning around and getting that episode out quite quickly, aren't you?
I try and get it out the Friday night, yes.
Yeah. So if you're coming on to the Expo Saturday and Sunday, if you've got a week ahead, be sure to listen to that on your drive in, because we'll be giving you some hot information that Friday morning. So, yeah.
I mean, you're very optimistic. I mean, some of it will be hot, and some of it will be utter dross.
Regular listeners will be expecting that, Sid. It's fine. That's our standard operating procedures.
I just wanted to be full transparency.
I love it.
See, I don't think anything's going to beat your last year of Kaiju Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, mate, I was banging that was.
That was good.
It was the glee on Sid's face when he explained it as well. You could tell he was so happy he'd found it.
It's like a little nugget, isn't it? You're raking through tons and tons of sand, and you just find this nugget of awesomeness. I was very pleased with myself. The thing is, I've set a bar that's high now. I don't think I'll achieve again.
Oh, there'll be something. Something will catch your eye, Sid.
Oh, I'm sure it will. Yeah, I'm sure it will.
So, how else are you prepared? Have you all got your what is it? You're climbing.
I've got coffee holster. Got to have your
coffee holster. Yeah.
I don't believe you forgot what it was called, Stephen. Yes, I have my coffee holster.
I don't use one because I've got dignity.
Exactly. Yes, I was going to say yes. You'll be wearing Crocs next, boys. Jesus, it's a slippery slope.
No. Just I wear sandals. I'll have my sandals because and my shorts, coffee holster. Got to keep ventilated. Don't want to make that mistake again. Keep everything quite cool and flowing. Yeah, and that's it. That's
why I
all
wear the
you gotta
kilts. They're good.
Oh, dear God. What was I saying about dignity?
There's nothing wrong with a kilt. Nothing wrong with a kilt.
Yeah, there's not. The thing you wear is
Mr. Gill. That's a perfectly acceptable piece of attire.
Oh, before everyone starts imagining Andy in a kilt, let's move on. There you go, Phil. That's one for you.
Yeah.
And I promise you, it isn't like the porridge oats man, right? That is a glorified version of a man in a kilt. It's not true, and it must have been produced purely to sell porridge oats.
I reckon you might be right there, yeah.
How do I segue into a game from handsome men on porridge oats boxes?
I think that's a tough one. Should we just talk about some board games? Because we've been playing a load of games recently. We've got lots to talk about here today, gents.
Kick us off with something, then, Rory. Since you're keen to talk about some board games.
Tell you what. Shall we start? Shall we start with Orloj, the astronomical clock from De Vere?
See, that was going to be my segue. But then I thought we wouldn't start with that because it's going to be my segue because there is some very handsome men in that. Your little workers in that game are some little handsome workers with some very handsome moustaches, I thought.
They just look like Super Mario.
And
I would never really describe Super Mario as handsome.
I don't know. I
mean,
thought
so
they were quite
dungarees would do
striking.
it for me, mate, if I'm brutally honest.
Especially having seen the really, really terrible the movie with Bob Hoskins in.
Dungarees and a plunger, mate, and I'm anyone's.
Exactly. Jesus.
Right, moving swiftly on. So, Andy, we've been playing this with you. Steve, Andy, and I have all played this. But I think are we going to hand over to Andy to let everyone to talk us through Orloj, the Prague Astronomical Clock? Can you remember it,
No
Andy?
pressure. I certainly can remember it, Mr. Summers. It was only a week ago, give or take. This is actually a game from our sponsor. I should point that out. This is from eToys World, our relatively new sponsor, actually. So go to their website, and you will get 10% off your first order by following the link in the show notes. Hopefully, Mr. Tudor will put it down there. I was going to call you Mr. Stephen then. That's weird. That makes me sound like Crichton from Red Dwarf. But I should carry on. Orloj, the Prague Astronomical Clock, from De Vere. This is by Abraham Sanchez Hamida and Paloma Pascual, and it is all about basically making the titular Orloj astronomical clock, which is actually, I think, as far as I'm aware, still in existence. I don't know if it still works or not, but it still exists. It's a big tourist attraction. You can go and see it. It's very pretty. And that prettiness is... Where is it? I'm assuming it's in Prague, mate.
Yeah, okay, good. Just checking you were reading the notes correctly. Carry on.
Well, Alora's also been to it, so we have talked about it. So, you know, the idea is that you are collectively building this clock, and the first thing that struck me and a few of us actually was the fact that it looks remarkably similar to Ada's Dream, which because it's a thing in the middle. A rondelle, actually. Nice bloke. And with four things around it. Now, it works completely differently to Ada's Dream. It's nothing like it at all, but it does look a little similar to it. But ultimately, what you're doing is you are moving a chappie around, or actually moving the clock, first of all. So there's a sort of double-layered circular affair in the middle, and it allows you to do potentially two actions. So you'll move the middle bit around to do one bit, and you can choose to move the outer bit around as well, if you don't like what it ends up on, which is almost always, especially if you play games with Rory and Steve. You can decide to, at a cost, you can kind of clunk the clock, tick it on one further, or you can move the second wheel backwards a bit just to try and get these sort of actions to line up, because the two dials allow you to do different things, and it might be to, say, build part of the clock. There's two bits of it. You can either build the outer wheel, which are big circles, or the astrology things.
The outer bit is all the numbers of the clock, isn't it? 1 through 12, and then the inner bit is all the zodiac signs, all in the lovely.
That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, I was going to astrology, astronomy. There, all the horse shit that people sort of believe in, who people read the sun, that nonsense, and that all goes on the clock as well. On top of that, you could try to get resources. You can also go up because it's a Euro. There are 3 tracks that you need to go up as well, which give you benefits so them to go through the game. So you can go up those as well. They're basically represented by books, so presumably thematically some kind of local library or knowledge and understanding, I assume, which can give you better bonuses. And t'other one, which allows you to gain cards, which can then especially provide you with some endgame scoring bonuses as well through some various additional mechanics. So there's 4 things to do. There's lots and lots of ways to score points. Didn't you count up to something like 11 ways to score points in this, Steve? It's a ridiculous number of things.
The industry likes to use the word point salad.
Mm-hmm. It's more of a points buffet, I think.
We often use the words point buffet. I actually think this game is a points carvery. Because...
It goes well with gravy.
Well, no, because, right. So for the American or non-British listeners, a carvery is this institutional thing where you go have a Sunday roast, and it's always a roast meat, and then what you do is you go to the counter and get carved a piece of roast meat, which will be a selection. Then you can help yourself to vegetables, and that's the kind of like buffet part of it. But the main thing is the carvery meat. And in this game, the main points are really the building of the clock faces.
Yeah,
that's what's going to get you most of your points. But then there's the meat and the 2 veg and the gravy on the side, and maybe a Yorkshire pudding, where you can get some other points to bolster that. And so there's objectives in there. There's like these end-game scoring. There's these tracks. It's not as complicated as Arda's Dream, which had I think it was Arda's Dream, which had 11 different places you could score points.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, this is a little less than that, but there's still loads of places you can get them. But you're going to get most of them from building the clock faces because that's the main action of the game.
It's true because that is based, and it's got this. Runaway's the wrong word. Kind of building. It's importance building, I suppose, because the longer you go through the game, the more expensive it is to build these bits of the clock, because they're based on this kind of grid system, and by removing the bits that you build from this grid and put them into the clock, it reveals more resources that add to the cost of the build.
Yeah, didn't Steve calculate? There's actually 6 rondelles in this game, isn't there?
Something like that.
Because each of these building sections is a rondelle. You've got you move your pointer around, and then wherever your pointer lands, you can build one of those numbers or one of those zodiac signs.
It depends where you count it. So I think I came up to 4.5 because the main clock mechanism is a rondelle, which is what that determines your main action. Your sub action is a secondary rondelle within that, which you can rotate. Yep. That's the kind of half. You've got the 2 scoring spaces for painting your faces.
Yeah.
But then you've got the saints, so you need to collect all 12 apostles. And to do this, it's actually like a geared rondelle, similar to Windmill Valley if you've played that, where you rotate it and it reveals 2 more. So is that 1 or is that 2 rondelles?
I'd say that's 1 because you pick from both of them. You've also got the moon, which is another
and the moon.
one.
Sorry, in the middle. In the middle of that, there's the moon, which is another rondelle, which can get you stuff.
Yeah,
and then you've got the painter. The painter, which is
the painter. Yeah, and that's another rondelle. Yes,
6 rondelles, 6 maybe 7 rondelles, depending on how you count it. It's really clever how they all kind of interlink with each other. But as you were saying, Andy, when you do the build action, depending on which thing you're going to build, depending on what has been built and added to the clock before, changes how expensive everything is. So they do just really ramp up, and then you get points for the more resources you have to spend. So although it's now going to cost you 6-7 resources, they all cost you points. It's a lot of points.
It's almost Runaway, but not quite. Because there's an interesting strategy where you could go early, which would be nice and cheap, but you won't get as many points, or you could wait a bit, but it would cost you a lot more, and you get a ton of points. So I think probably there's a balance between the two, really, because there's an additional scoring. It's not a massive scoring thing, but if you can manage to put a load of pieces that are contiguous on the clock face, you get even more points because you have a sort of a run of people, as it were, and they will score you more points as well. So if you can somehow manage to do that, then it can be quite beneficial. But it is, of course, very difficult because everyone's doing the same thing, so they'll break it up.
That's the offset, isn't it? If you go early, you've got a higher chance of being able to put your contribution on the clock to score those points. If you go later, less contribution but more resources, so you're going to get points that way. It's a really interesting balance.
It is, and the the number of kind of sacrifices, so basically broken cog gears, is represented by that you have. I think you're limited to 5. So you can spend these in order to adjust the clock to give you the actions that you want within reason, but you can only repair a certain number of them during the end of each round, or whenever the cockerel gets to the end of the round, which is given by a number of other things. So you've got to really sort of try to balance that resource, which is quite expensive, to make sure that you've got enough flexibility to kind of jiggle the clock to your benefit, but without going nuts on the broken gears, because if you've got too many of them, you'll lose points at the end of each round as well. So that's quite nasty.
Don't know what you're talking about, Andy.
There are ways to improve all of these things throughout the game, but it is quite... There's a lot going on, to put it this way. To put it simply, there is a lot going on. It does work quite well together. It takes a little bit of getting used to, because I think it is quite piecemeal, but not in a bad way. It's just trying to work out how all of the interlinking pieces fit together. That's the hard bit of the game, I think.
I found this more straightforward than Arda's Dream, which we talked about the other day. I thought this looked more complicated than it was, because if you concentrated on, well, the ultimate thing is to do the clock face, then everything else kind of supports that, and you can think of that as well. But then you've got objective, which is like a certain objective might be the apostles, and of course you've got the apostles which you haven't mentioned, which go onto your boards
because
and
I
a
never
little
used
grid.
them. Okay.
And well, they get you bonuses. So it's that Euro thing. If you put an apostle down, which can get you a resource, get the complete a row or a column, and that get you points or other resources. Yeah, I think it. I really like this.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed this. I would say as well, between 2 and 4 players, because we only played with 2 and 4 players, is a very different game.
Massively different.
Mainly because that clock in a 4-player game, you can't predict where it's going to go. So the main rondel, which determines what action you can take, you have. I don't say you have no control over it, but it can move drastically between 3 other people who can also crank it further. And of course, once they get up one of the tracks, they can actually spin it round more turns on their turn anyway. And so you have to end up using these broken cog resources, which we said you're only limited to, and they can potentially use your points to try and get it where you want to, which could be frustrating in the higher player game. Whereas in a 2-player game, you could always more or less get it to where you wanted to.
Yeah.
That sounds a bit boring, actually.
In hindsight, yes, you're right. I think it was a more interesting game at 4-player because it was harder. It was a little bit frustrating at first, but once I've kind of got onto that, I really enjoyed it.
I found, at the higher player count, I think this game is all about movement, and you're constantly having to pivot and adjust your plan. And I'm using the word plan in a very, very loose term here, because, as I said, the previous players, between your go and your go again, that clock can change, or the board can change so drastically that all of a sudden you have to go, I've got to pivot now, I've got to go. Which is when I found when we played it at 4 players, I found it very hard to do particular actions. So I had to change my plan, and I had to try and get all of my points by doing other things. So, Andy, you said you didn't do any of the apostles. I got loads of the apostles because that's the only way I could reasonably try and catch up.
Did you? Yeah.
I built very little,
Yeah.
But that's
Which
another...
kind of ruins my points cavalry analogy, doesn't it? Because you didn't actually get your points from building.
Well, I think it's probably more that there's a lot of your, like, I mean, David Turkey is the obvious one where, you know, you've got 6 areas of the board, but you can never do all 6 in a Dave Turkey game.
Yeah.
You can only do like 4 of them. So you've got to pick your battles carefully, basically. You can never do everything, which I think is a sign of a decent Euro. You've got to pick the bits that you think you can do. So yeah, Rory focused on the apostles. I focused mostly on actually endgame scores and the clock. Which meant getting resources, and obviously the tracks, because I always go there. But the rest of the game I didn't really touch. But
that's it. I still went for the clock. I still contributed a little bit to the clock, but I think I got in very early and then very late, and I had all that middle ground where I couldn't access it.
Yeah,
and it was my own fault. Like we talked about the cranking the clock. I cranked my clock really early and just couldn't recover, so I was always stuck with whatever the rondel was pointing to, which I lost the ability to control it. But I was thinking about this game earlier, and to me, I feel like it almost feels like this game is about almost like lock picking, and you're manipulating each of these cogs to line up perfectly to get what you want. It just kind of had that more. It almost felt thematically more like picking a lock than it was building a clock.
It's a bit like Trip Lock, which we know is your favourite game.
It's a really good theme, actually.
I mean, it did. I mean, I made the point when we played the game that I could foresee it being quite frustrating. And I think it was probably, correct me if I'm wrong, Roy, but I think you did suffer this frustration to a point where you had a ton of resources, but you couldn't spend them because you couldn't get the build action out because it only appears, is it twice on the main rondel?
Yeah.
So if somebody nudges it past every time just before you'll go, you can't actually get to the point where you can do any building, which
it becomes very expensive for me to crank it all the way around.
I would say that there's 2 of each action on the main rondel, so effectively 6 turns, but you can also get it with the kind of guild master actions. So you've got an extra set of actions which are worker placement. It's really weird. There's a worker placement section which only 1 worker. but you can't do that action twice in the same location, so you can't do the build action twice using that. So there's no way you can get build.
Yeah.
But there are lots of other different ways you could get build actions.
Oh,
Like when
yeah.
you went up the track, you got these little scrolls which allow you to do them. If you got two of your stained glass windows together, you could do them. The problem is, Andy, I was pointing these out to Ro and you kept missing them. I also kept pointing out to him, if you want to repair your clock, your cranked gears, you need to do the moon action. Ro went, oh, right. And then never did the moon action, so it's his own fault.
Right, forget it. No sympathy. Screw you, Summers.
There was always something else that I needed to do to get the thing that I needed to do to progress my own plan. But I banjaxed myself by ballsing up my clock early on. But that's it. So I made a strategic mistake, and I won't ever make that again. But having said that, I managed to claw back a lot of that gap. We joked earlier about losing points. There was one point, because you start on 10 points, I almost got down to 0 points. At this point, and by this point, Steve and Andy have already made it round the first corner of the board, and I'm less points than I started the game with. And I closed that gap dramatically, despite my one mistake, which goes to say there's so many points available in this game, and there's so many strategies to explore, so many ways you can pivot. It is, and I love this game. I really enjoyed it, and I'd really like to play it more to get better at it as well. I think it's a game that I could get really good at if I.
It's definitely a pokeable game in the sense you can do it in lots of different ways, so it's worth exploring. So it's got a lot of mileage.
Yeah, I should also point out there's a lot of there's randomness in the setup as well, whereby you gain points based on where you are on these tracks, which are based on 3 random objectives. There are also 3 other random objectives, which would be like get 5 apostles or get 3 green apostles or something like that. And they're all random, so each game can be quite different. So, for instance, you could end up with those mixing and matching. So, for instance, like you could end up with making one of the Zodiac faces appearing in 3 places on the game.
Yeah.
So be an objective, be a track scoring point thing, and of course be the where you get your points. And that funnels people down to what you want to do. So if you end up with a variation in that setup, you can spread out a bit more, whereas it could potentially be funneling you down. I don't see that as a bad thing. I see it as a good thing. It just means every game is going to be slightly different as to what you do with those things. Yeah, I really like this.
Yeah, talking of setup, this game has got a brilliant rule in it for how you set up the clock for when you first play the game.
Oh, yeah.
So when you set up the clock, the hand obviously has to point to a particular time, and it says set it to whatever time you're about to start playing the game. So if you're about to start playing the game at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you set the starting hand to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And that's where the game starts. I thought that was lovely. I really like that.
It also did have the weird bag, which is a Devere thing. It was in Transgalactica as well.
Yeah.
Because the face of the clock, it always starts with some of the faces already made. Even on a maximum player game, it's a 4-player game. So what you're supposed to do is put a bunch of tokens into a bag, pull out the random ones, and then go to a pile of blank tokens and replace the ones you've pulled with the blank tokens. And it's like Transgalactica had that very, very, very similar, where you got to the end of the step when you first do it and went, why did I go for all that palaver? Why didn't I just draw these tiles direct from the bag and that'd be it?
But we got a nice little printed bag, though, with Orloj written on it, or stitched into it.
Which you used for all of 5 seconds. That was Orloj, the Prague Astronomical clock, and I think we all rather enjoyed it.
Yeah, not
Certainly
bad at
did.
all.
I can't segue at all into this next one, so I'm just going to talk about Warcrow Adventures, a dungeon-crawling adventure game from Corvus Belli, and a whole bunch of designers, which I'm not going to try and pronounce.
Bloody hell, it's
Solid choice.
Which
Jesus.
Yeah, there's like 6 designers. For those that don't know, Warcrow is a miniatures war game from Corvus Belli, who are the makers of Infinity. And Warcrow is their fantasy one. Now, it's a new game, though technically it's an old game, because Corvus Belli actually is Spanish for Warcrow. So it's Warcrow by
cool.
Warcrow. Yeah.
Belly's war, yes.
2 versions of this game came out, Warcrow, which is the miniatures war game, and Warcrow Adventures, which is a dungeon crawler. And the best way to describe this is Mansion of Madness with extra steps. So it's an app-driven game, And the app-driven game will work very, very similar to Mansions of Madness if you've played that, which is basically map tiles get placed out, little icons go on the map which say what you can interact with. Oh, look, there's a prisoner in the cell. Oh, there's a chest. There's a door. There's noise coming from behind the door. That kind of thing. So you move your miniatures around the board, activate the icon in the app, and it tells you what's behind it. On top of that, however, is a bit more of a tactical combat compared to Mansions. And I'm going to keep making that comparison because it does feel to me like someone found the root code for the Mansions of Madness app and ripped it off, because the way in which the tokens get revealed and everything looks very, very similar.
Is it not more like in Star Wars?
I haven't played the Star Wars ones as...
Not the new ones, the FFG one, that Imperial Assault.
Yeah, so there was Imperial Assault, Descent, also used an app, and
Yes.
of course Mansions of Mordor, as we call it, and Mansions of Middle-earth, which is Adventures of Middle-earth, which use something similar. Yeah, I mean, I haven't played the Descent or the Star Wars solo
Have you not?
versions. So no, I've not. What I mean by it's more tactical is it does it more interesting with the combat. So what it does is you've got actions you can take, so actions attack, basically using your equipment, but you get energy crystals, and on your board is several rows of options with 1, 2, or 3 slots you have to use, and always have 3 slots on them. So every time you expend one of these energy crystals, it has an effect. This could be to improve your initiative, it could be to improve your damage, it could be to activate one of your special skills. So some actions you have to... Some slots you have to use all 3 crystals on, so you'll take all 3 actions. Some of them you may use 1 or 2, so which basically means you can do more than 1 action in a round, but you won't get as many Brucey bonuses. Or the ones that only require 1 is a penalty, so it puts you later in the initiative, so it takes you longer to do it. So there's a very interesting tactical nature about how you use these crystals. I'm going to say at first, because I think me and Rory, after about 1 dungeon, got into a rhythm with them and found that basically we were doing this the same way every time. The other interesting thing about this game is the initiative is a clock. Since we just talked about Orloj, that was a segue which I should have used. Bugger. The initiative is a clock with a little spinner on it, and you're replacing the initiative as tokens on there. So you move the initiative mark around to you activate, and then when you're finished, you'll move on a number of spaces based on using the actions you've taken. So a quick action will move you a shorter pace, certain actions will move you a longer pace. Stunned means you move an extra track on the initiative. So there's this really cool clock-based initiative system.
That sounds remarkably familiar to that deterministic one we played a few years ago, Steve.
Oh yeah, that was a rondel though. That was a rondel fancy one.
Yes.
I can't remember what it's called now off the top of my head.
It made that much of an impression.
Yeah. There's also, it feels very Descent-ish in the combat as well, because you've got coloured dice, which do that's different things, and you can upgrade the dice with certain skills and certain equipment. And what the dice have is they have attacks, and they have exclamation marks, which are switches, and then they have hollow attacks and hollow exclamation marks. And certain things on your skills mean you can use those dice to affect things.
Sounds very Imperial Assault.
Yeah, it's very much of that vein.
Okay.
I should also say as well that it's obvious that a lot of work has been done in the background because it's based on this new IP of theirs, this new war game. So, of course, war game needs like reams of lore. You can tell a lot of work has gone into setting it up. So if you know anything about this, you'll also know that you can trace this back to some of the stories you know if you know anything about the war game. I should also say that if you're interested in the war game as well, it basically gives you the entire force of baddies. So the Scions of Yaldabaoth. So all the baddies in the game form one army. So you effectively, if you buy this game, you've already got one army.
That's
Nice.
very cool, actually.
That is
Yeah.
useful. I see what they've done there.
Yeah.
Is that called a gateway drug? I mean, that's not maybe not quite the right terminology, but that feels like a slippery slope.
It's not far off, Sid. I mean, let's be fair, it's not too dissimilar to what Games
I was
Workshop
about to
did
say
with
this is Games Workshop, isn't it, really?
Warhammer Quest, which is the Darkwater one. It's like, here's a board game. It's not really a board game, it's a Nurgle army in a box.
Well, it's
with a board.
a well-trodden path.
Yeah.
And it's like Kill Team as well. That's work for me. I'm not getting any more Games Workshop, he says. I play Kill Team once and then end up with the entire set of Inquisition box sets. Oops.
It's why you make your introduction accessible and then you push yourself down the rabbit hole.
I know, and I've fallen victim to it despite insisting I wouldn't. Never mind, carry on.
Next thing is you'll be off buying a beefy bake. And those in the know exactly what I mean.
I'm not in the know. Don't know what that is. Send me a message. Tell me what it is.
Never mind, it's fine.
Okay.
Don't worry,
I'm thinking
half our audience are now currently down at Henderson's getting a beefy bake.
Nice.
Is this a still game reference?
It is, yes.
It
yes.
is.
Yeah, 50-50 chance of that. Right. I like everything we've just said about this game. I like the combat, I like the characters, I like the dice mechanic, I like the initiative mechanic. I like the fact that I now have an army for Warcrow if I ever want to play Warcrow. I love the story, I love everything.
I love the minis. The minis are really cool as well. The art is fantastic. Yeah.
Art's fantastic, minis are cutter. But I just think there's a few things that have messed up on the mission design.
Oh.
And the way in which the app works. And they're the kind of thing which, unfortunately, almost pissed us off entirely. Number one, you can play a campaign or you can play standalone missions. I should say, if you are thinking of playing this game is designed to be played as a campaign. Don't play the standalone missions. Because the standalone missions are not standalone missions, they're novelty games. So the first one is quite literally a novelty game where you're going around a fair and playing games of chance. You don't fight any baddies. You just quite literally play like dice games and card games and things like that in the app of skills.
Yeah, we had to move to like the little kitchen island thing and just like flicking dice.
There was a dice flicking mini game in the middle of it. The second one we tried, thinking, oh, maybe that was an anomaly, was basically like a horde mode where I had every single miniature in the game on the board at the same time, and we just had to survive as long as possible. This wouldn't have been so bad if the app had said that when we selected the mission in the app.
Yeah.
Just a little line says, oh, this is a fun little mini game, or this is a horde mode game. How long will you last? So we tried again on another session, because bear in mind that 2 games of that took us all evening. So it took out a whole.
It's not short then.
It's not short, these games. We played 4-player when we played the mini games. Then me and Rory attacked it on an afternoon and went for the campaign. And again, there's some really cool things about the campaign. Like, for instance, you don't just choose your character. You take a full roster of characters and choose who's going to each mission. You also, when you come to the end of it, when you have that thing where, you need to heal up and spend your money and buy XP, you have to go to certain places in the city, and those certain places will change your influence with factions. And you can only go to one place, and you might be able to level up and buy some equipment or heal and get some information or something like that.
Depending on which character goes to which location, they get received differently. So it was really clever.
But again, the problem with the app is when you get to the missions, we found out the missions don't scale by player count.
That's really bad.
That seems pretty fundamental.
Yeah.
So Rory and I played it with a character each, and we did okay, I think only because I'd taken the healer. So I'd taken the cleric character, and I was basically spamming the heal ability to heal Rory's character, who'd gone for the orc, so he was the tank.
I was the tank, yeah.
And we got to the end of the second mission surviving, and I think we did that because of my ability. And then we came to the end of the second mission, we just didn't have the actions to complete the final mission, to complete the final fight. It was an interesting fight. It wasn't just a case straight up fight the baddies. It was you had to stop and protect something from being attacked. So you had to attack a certain baddie while at the same time this witch was going around and causing havoc. And I think if we played that with 4 characters, we wouldn't have had the problems. We would have got through it okay because we've had more actions.
And it doesn't tell you anywhere that you need to take 4 characters, even if there's only 2 players.
No.
Not that I could find, definitely not in the app, unless it's hidden in the rulebook somewhere.
Right.
So we realised this and we're kind of deflated. Because it's like, well, do we have to restart the campaign now because we only selected 2 characters? Answer, yeah. Should we, if we had taken 2 characters each and known this from the beginning, we probably would have had a lot more fun with it.
So we couldn't even add 2 more characters and retry it, could we?
No.
No.
Because we didn't put them in the roster.
So by this point, Steve and I have spent an entire evening playing this, and then we'd spent an afternoon and an evening playing the campaign on our own to realise in both times we've done it wrong through no fault of our own. There were just no kind of safeguards in place. There was no kind of instruction to tell us that we needed to do that or stop us doing it wrong. It's like we were just colouring outside the lines. And although that doesn't break the game, it really upset our enjoyment of it. So if you've got Warcrow sat on your shelf waiting to be played, when you do play it, dear listener, play it with 4 characters. Skip the standalone adventures, and you are going to have a great time because, as Steve said, the lore is fantastic, the miniatures are fantastic, the combat is interesting, the choices are interesting, the story that develops and how you interact with this adventure, everything is really interesting and it's really cool, and it's just a little bit different to other things that are on the market. But if you don't play with 4 characters, you're going to have a substandard experience.
That's not
and
ideal.
for 100 rips,
Yeah.
that's a hell of a waste of money.
It's just a shame because a sentence on the app would have solved it. Would have solved all the issues we had.
Or to stop
Now-
you loading it unless you have
Yeah.
4 characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I've read some other reviews of people who've played further into it, and they've said there are other issues with the mission design later on, in that sometimes it just feels like the dungeons are empty.
Oh.
So you have large dungeons with next to no monsters in it, which again feels just like an implementation. I also find it interesting. You go to BGG and look at the reviews. So I played a demo of this very early. They sent us a demo of this when it was on Kickstarter. And that mission was really good. So in fact, I even played that mission twice because it was fun to replay it. And I don't think it's almost like as if so much effort went into making that mission interesting that the rest of them couldn't have as much going into them to make them fun by the sounds of
It
it.
sounds a little half-arsed if I'm being blunt.
It feels like they've just messed up at the last leg.
Maybe
Because-
it's rushed out the door.
I don't know, because it was on Kickstarter a while ago. They had plenty of time to. It just, as I said, the combat mechanics interesting, the initiative mechanics interesting, the characters and the lore are interesting. It just feels the mission design is lacking a bit. And the problem is when you play things like Gloomhaven and Descent. I mean, Descent. The original Descent Journeys in the Dark, which is like the second edition of the game, which was the Games Master version before the app came in. The mission design on that is superb. Because every mission is like, there's 2 ways to win and 2 ways to lose, if that makes sense. And it's you've got to balance all 4 every time. You just can't go run through and kill everything. You have to decide, hey, am I going to kill everything, or am I going to try and just run through, or am I going to do this or that? Really clever. These just felt like go into a room. I mean, Manchester Madness. I mentioned Manchester Madness. I mean, the storytelling that comes in like the Innsmouth version of that is superb, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really good
But
game.
this did feel like it was a linear way through the dungeons. Kill A, kill B, kill C, kill the boss. Which, as I said, it just lets it down a little bit. There's a lot there behind it which could have made this into a great game, and it just feels like that last leg is lacking.
That is a shame.
So that was Warcrow Adventures by Corvus Belli.
So I'm going to jump in and I'm going to talk about Fate, Defenders of Grimheim, which is another, well, this is fantasy-esque, isn't it? This is Vikings defending the village of Grimheim from orcs and undead and demons in a tower defense game, a cooperative tower defense game. So this is a really straightforward game. You're going to have a hero, and your hero's going to have an attack, and they're going to have some special abilities, and randomly you're going to draw, well, not randomly, at points throughout the game, you are going to draw cards which will randomly determine what monsters are going to turn up, how many of them in what kind of organisation, and they're slowly just going to march in on this giant circular hex board, and they're all just going to start marching in towards the village of Grimheim, and you're going to need to just kill them or defend Grimheim. And Grimheim's got a certain amount of villages depending on how many players you've got, and every time a bad guy gets into the village, it automatically destroys a building, and you've just got to outlast the horde. In a nutshell, that is the game. As it goes on, the monsters get harder, so you've got starter monsters and boss, and then you've got hard monsters. In both decks of cards, you've got occasional bosses that might turn up, and they really mess everything up. Each of the different monsters have different skills. So undead hit you on the magical runes and the hit mark on the dice. The goblins, as are the orcs, get bonuses when they're clustered together. They do more damage, and the demons can fire from far away. And you've got your archetypal heroes. You've got a dwarf, you've got a ranger archer dude, you've got a spellcasting lass, and you've got a barbarian lassie with red hair who doesn't look anything like Brave from the Pixar movie. Meredith, sorry, yeah, Meredith from Brave. And this is it's a family weight, straight up tower defense game. And I think it is really, really good at what it does. What it does isn't new or innovative or clever or crazy. It is just a solid co-op tower defense game.
It's weird. When I first saw this game, I had a remarkable sense of game déjà vu. Because there was something about both the style of game, the design, the artwork, everything put together feels like something I played as like an indie Kickstarter game 10 years ago.
It sounds familiar. Like it sounds reminiscent of Guards of Atlantis, which I realise was a tabletop MOBA rather than a tower defence game. But
there are similarities, but it's much simpler than that.
Yeah.
It's much more stripped down compared to that, and it's much better than Guards of Atlantis.
yes, Guards of Atlantis was dreadful. I'm not going to lie.
I know we seem to be alone in thinking Guards of Atlantis was bad, but I'm very much of the view this is much better. Now, I should also point out that this is by the Fricks family, this game, which are the designers of Terraforming Mars. And this couldn't be further from Terraforming Mars in both its implementation rules and everything.
Still got a hex board.
Still got a hex board. Yeah, it's got hexagons.
There we go.
There you go. Sorted.
But similar to what we were saying with Warcrow, it's our expectation of this game. Coming from the Fricks family, coming from Fricks Games, when Steve and I played this, we thought this was going to be an interesting, crunchy co-op tower defense game. We knew it was that, but we thought from that caliber of publisher and that caliber of designers, that's what we'd get. And what we got was very, very different. And it was in a conversation with Steve that I thought, you know what, I might take this home with me and see if Logan will play it, because I want to see how he reacted to this game. And he absolutely loved this. My 9-year-old son got so engaged with it. So engaged. We played it back to back on Saturday. And it's like, when I say it's a really simple game as well, on Sunday, when he was like, Sunday afternoon, before we'd been out to a birthday party, we'd come back and we'd watch some Spider-Man movie. And he was like, can we play Fate again, please, Dad? I was like, yeah, no worries. You set it up, I'll go start making dinner. And he able just open the box and all from memory just set the entire board up perfectly with all the characters, everything. I then sat down and we just started playing. It's that simple a game. It's that strong. And that's not a bad thing at all. Not a bad thing at all. It's just not what we were expecting.
No, I actually think it's actually not, but it's not. It's a good game. It's just lighter than our usual fare.
Yeah.
Which means it, as you said, it works perfectly for your lad who just wants to go kill some orcs.
Yeah.
And level up, get a better weapon,
Get back, yeah.
smash some more orcs.
Wants to do some dice chucking and stuff like that. It's got all of that, and for him, he was having some interesting. There's risk and there's threat, and he's got choices and he's got options to get better, and he has to weigh all that up, and he has to struggle to get XP to do this. And for him, that was really engaging. For me, I thought, well, it's kind of obvious what you're going to attack and where you're going to move and what to do next. But he felt he had a lot of agency and a lot of control because he felt there was a lot of threat. Good game. Did you? Oh, yeah.
See, the way you're talking, right, is I'm listening to this and I'm coming at it. I'm hearing a very different explanation here. I'm hearing you lot went in expecting Interstellar and got dog soldiers, and now you're moaning that you've played a good game. Because everything you've described sounds like it was a fun time. And if you hit it the way you said about Logan playing it, mate, it just feels like you had a good time with Logan playing it.
I absolutely
and
did.
probably more so than you did with Steve, because you guys came at it expecting a big, meaty, beefy game
Yeah.
and didn't get it.
Based on the designer and the publishing house, I was expecting a big meaty game. You're right, Sid. And you're right. You know, Terraforming Mars, like whether you like it or not, is a big meaty game with lots of meaty decisions, and it's not a big meaty game. It's a fun dice chucker. And yes, tempered my expectations. I should have.
Well, no, but that's what's interesting about it, is because I think you need all sorts of these kinds of games. You need the Interstellars of the world all the time, but then every now and then you just need something to kick back and a bit of chewing gum for the mind and just play a game like this. And from what you've described, I can see Jai having the same kind of experience.
Yeah. And that's it for me. You're absolutely right. I had fun playing it with Logan because he had fun playing the game. When I pick him up from school tomorrow, if he says, "Can we play Fate tonight?" Yes, 100%. After you've done your homework, we'll play Fate. But I don't think it's ever going to be a game that I'm going to come and play with you, Sid, or you, Andy, or you, Steve. I'm never going to play it with adults.
You're damn right you're not going to play with me. I fucking hate tower defense games.
I don't know. See, a couple of tinnies, a couple of bags of peanuts, I reckon we could have some fun with this. You could incentivize the dice chucking.
Yeah. we could have some fun with it, yeah.
I'm not going to lie, Andy. I think I wouldn't say you'd hate this game. You just kind of go, yeah.
Tower defense is an interesting genre of games, though, because it relies on a dopamine hit of you looking for the next wave, for you looking for the next big baddie, for you getting a little bit of extra money, a bit of extra resource, so that next round you're better set up. It's how they rely on it. It's why they work so well as a time burner on your mobile.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I never thought that. That's very intuitive.
That's what they do.
It is very cool.
That's how our brains work.
When in Fate, because you have these little quests you have to do to get your equipment, and you go, right, I've got that one now, and I've done that really simple quest, and then your next one is the mega awesome version of your weapon, and I've got to go do this to get this massive dwarf axe, which is going to give me all these perks, and it's like, that's what I'm going to do. It is interesting, but you have no control over it, and that's
no.
Going off on one now. It's a good game. It's very good at what it does. And I think it's one that I will always play with Logan should he want to play. Quite hard to get hold of in the UK, though. I had a search for this, right? And I found it, and the only place I found it in the UK was a website called grimfrost.co.uk, which sells Viking-themed clothing and sportswear. And so if you spend over 140 quid, you get a free drinking horn with your order.
You see, that's the kind of shit I'm talking about.
Why did you not lead with that, Rory? That's interesting.
You could be sat there sloshing drinks in horns,
Yeah.
shouting "Skoll" every now and then, and attacking waves of demons.
I'm on this website now. This is great. So that you've got your usual thing on closed websites, you know, men, women, you know. Then you've got the next one, feasting.
Nice.
I'm going to have to look this
Which
up.
is drinking horns. Oh, they've got drinking holsters.
No.
Oh,
No.
feasting.
It's for putting your drinking horn on a table. That's what.
Oh, it's not a belt mount.
No, it's a belt one.
It's one as well.
Oh my god. Oh, there. That is mint.
You're right. I should have led
Proper
with
gear,
this.
man.
Oh, God, I'm getting lost here. Now I'm looking at tankards.
Beards. You can buy beards. Well, not beards. You don't actually buy like a beard. You can buy beard rings and combs. Mate, this is
This is
amazing.
now live shopping with PHC.
We're all going to get lost and go into the live Viking reenactment at Expo at this rate, aren't we?
Oh, yes.
Get it out.
Bloody
Right,
hell.
guys, right, back on. Let's focus. Can we squeeze one more board game into this episode?
So let's round off with Kinfire Council from Incredible Dream Studios and designed by Kevin Wilson. So this... regular listeners will know we talked about it in the past because this was one of my preview games for Expo last year. which I was really excited to see. And annoyingly, I couldn't find it at Expo to buy it. But we have played it since. We have got hold of it and played it. Now, this is part of the Kinfire series, so there is 3 games in Kinfire series. Kinfire Council, which is this game, Kinfire Delve, which is Dungeon Crawler, and Kinfire Adventures, I think. Oh, sorry, Kinfire Chronicles is the adventure game. There's a whole world built up around this, so Kinfire, the Kinfire is a central city in this world, and there's characters and all that been built up. But what this game is, to reduce it to its bareness, is a semi-cooperative Lords of Waterdeep.
Oh.
Which is oversimplifying it quite a bit.
Yeah, but it's the bones are there.
So you have the city in front of you, and it's worker placement. You have a number of workers, based, of course, on a number of players, and you have your special worker, which is like your hero character. They can do some extra things, and they can go to extra spaces which your normal workers can't. But other than that, it is place your worker down, get the resources, or exchange the resources, is the primary way in which you're going to play this game. There are 3 tiers to the city, which if you've got the snazzy version are on little hired plastic things, so there are actually 3 tiers, and you have to pay taxes to go into the higher tiers. Basically costs you more to go there. There are benefits which stop you from doing that. The semi-cooperative thing is that you're also building lighthouses, so over the course of the game, 5 rounds, you'll build 5 lighthouses, and it's basically a track which you'll get victory points. You throw some resources into there, it'll go up. You'll get points at the end of each round based on how big the lighthouse is, how much of it's been built, and how many resources you've put in to building it. However, the sting in the tail is there's also an evil cult working behind the scenes trying to bring the downfall of Kinfire.
Of course.
And what this works is, and I think it's actually quite a clever mechanic, is that you will put down random cultists at the beginning of each round, and these cultists will block off worker placement spaces. But as an action, you can arrest them. Arresting them will sometimes get you a bonus, but most importantly, some of the action spaces require you to hand in a prisoner, which is one of the cultists you've arrested, in order to pay that's the fee for going to that action space. On top of that, you also have these scheme cards, which get brought out based on which cultist tokens you brought out. If you don't resolve these schemes, these are a bit like the missions in Lords of Waterdeep. They require resources to complete. If you don't complete them, then the cultists will do bad stuff, which will either bring out more cultists or they'll start destroying the lighthouse. What's the really interesting aspect from here is the cultists have their own score.
Oh.
So they have a hidden score, which is a bunch of cards which are hidden at the beginning of the game, and then they have a score which you can see which will advance through the game. And there are a couple of worker placement spots where you can increase the cultist score. You can also pledge allegiance to the cultists.
Oh.
So there is an end game condition where if the cult has won, so this cult has scored the most points, then the person who has put the last influence or is leading the influence of the cult will win the game rather than use their own score. But it's only if the cult beat every other player. There's also a voting system, so at the end of every round there's something you can vote on, which is a decree, which is quite interesting because it's either bonus things, and some of them have, if this doesn't get voted, then more things come out. Much like several of the other games we mentioned, there's lots of ways of scoring points in this game. I forgot also there's city needs as well, which you can commit to as well, which are quite interesting. And if you don't fulfill all the city needs, more cultists come out. This is quite interesting. There's lots of ways in which you can score points in this game. You can complete the objectives, which is thwarting the cult. You can build in the city. So if you improve a building, this is where the Lords of Waterdeep thing is like really apparent. You can upgrade a building. If you upgrade a building, you put your token next to it to say you get that, and you get a bonus when everyone else uses that building. You also get a shed load of victory points, which is good. You get victory points for fulfilling the objectives, and with certain abilities and cards, you can get victory points for defeating the cult. And, of course, building the lighthouse as well.
Yeah, smorgasbord of points in this game.
Yeah. There's lots of things you can do. And it's interesting because it all looks quite pretty, I think. It's got a distinctive style. They've used their artwork throughout. and everything works well. The rulebook is lacking, shall we say?
There was this
Perfect
bit
example.
Steve was reading last night. I said, "Where are this? To do this, go to page 13. Looks at page numbers. I'm on page 13.
So,
What? Why am I being directed to the page that I'm on? Oh my dear.
This is a weird game because everything I've just described should make this game brilliant.
ooh, another big stinky boat.
Well, no, this is the weird thing. Yeah, everything I've described should make this game brilliant, and I do think everything works and it should be interesting. But every single person we've played this with now, and we've played it with multiple people, have just gone, yeah, it's fine. It's okay. It's not setting my pants on fire. It's not getting me very excited. It's okay.
Yeah.
And I've got to admit, I'm struggling to work out why.
It's because you're comparing to Lords of Waterdeep.
Well, the thing is, though, Lords of Waterdeep is now, what, 10, 12 years old?
Yeah, it doesn't stop it being good.
Yeah, but there's more things you can do in this. Because the cult, I mean, you can side with the cult at the last minute and undercut all your friends. You can try and, purposely stop Rory from arresting people, by blocking off his arrest paths. You can either try and build the lighthouse or scupper it. But it's weird how everyone we've played it with has just gone, yeah. It's all right.
It's good. It is like Lords of Waterdeep. I think I described it yesterday. It's almost like a Lords of Waterdeep V2. There is more player interaction in this game than there is in Lords of Waterdeep.
Yeah, but why? But if that was true, you wouldn't look like somebody's just come along and burst your second bollock, mate. You look so deflated sat there, mate. I don't know what's wrong with you.
But the thing is, it's impossible not to compare this to Lords of Waterdeep because there are so many mechanics in it which are exactly the same. There's a bunch of bonus cards in there which are exactly the same as the bonus cards in Lords of Waterdeep.
Oh.
And it feels like if you hadn't had these cards in, maybe you could not make that analogy. But it's like 75% of the game is Lords of Waterdeep, and then some extra things have been added.
Yeah.
And some things taken away. The quests have been replaced by the
thwart
cult
cards, the cult cards, yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say, last night, was it last night? Yeah, it was. That was the most, I've played this several times now, and that was the most interesting game. And I think what became really interesting about last night is Adam made a mistake in letting the cult get out of hand for one turn. And that threw us all onto the back foot. And I think that is where this game really needs to come into its own, but it takes that player agency to do that. One player has to go, fuck it.
Yeah, when we talked about SETI.
Yeah.
And when we talked about SETI, the scanning thing, because all four of you played SETI.
Yeah.
And you found that if you're the only person doing the scanning, it's a rubbish game.
Yep.
Because you feel as if you're just throwing all your resources at one thing, and the game is designed for at least 2 or 3 people are doing the same thing and all adding to each other. This game has several mechanics where that happens. So building the lighthouses works best if multiple players are building lighthouses. Thwarting the cult works best if multiple players are thwarting the cult. Siding with the cult works best if multiple players are siding with the cult. Which means it's potluck whether everyone takes part in everything. Like Rory's game was set up last time that he was getting bonuses for arresting people, so he wasn't building the lighthouse. So that's one less person making the lighthouse interesting.
Yeah.
The first time we played, no one did anything to side with the cult, so we ended the game going, what was the point in the cult?
Yeah, between us, we just all took care of it and minimised that. It just took the risk out of the game, at which point it became just a normal worker placement.
I have a couple of hypotheses based on what you've told us. Now, I haven't played this, so please obviously tell me if I'm a million miles away. But hypothesis number 1, the game's too bloody easy and you found it just a breeze to basically control it. Or 2, it has done what, was it Zoocracy we played? You know that Parliament game where Rory and I basically beat everybody? It basically assumes the players are supposed to play the game in a certain way. And if the players don't play it in the way that the designers expressly wanted you to, then it becomes a farce.
I think Hypothesis 2 is similar to what I said last night. I think this game is almost a little bit sandboxy. They've prepared that all players can do anything within the realms of this. You can always go and do this, and you can always go and do that. And because you've always got that freedom to just explore all of these avenues, and you've got no focus and no drive to do X or Y, that everything just becomes a little bit flat.
If you try to please everybody, you end up pleasing nobody.
There's one thing where, like, some of the buildings can get destroyed, and you can put these rubble markers on, and the stack of rubble markers is huge. That they've produced all of these in case people are going to go and deliberately set off bombs across the city. They've given you the option that you can do that. They've given you the option that you can do. That you can side with the cult, or that you can ignore the cult. Because everyone's got all of the options, you're kind of left with, well, what do I do?
I think I know where we've possibly played this wrong then, which I think we have played it max 3 player.
Yeah.
Which I think by the sound of it, it's a 4 player game because you need everyone to poke a couple of things. Is it 4 player or is it possibly 5?
It's 6.
Is it 6?
2 to 6 I'm reading here.
Yeah.
In which case then, I would like to try this game again with 6 people and see how it differs.
I was going to ask, because what you've described, a sandbox game, right, that kind of like so many different directions to go in, playing at a low player count is going to implicitly make it a bit shite.
Yeah, all of a sudden, I think if we played it at that, even like 5, because I think there were times where you and Adam ran out of spaces to go to, at which point you go, well, I'm going to do something. I've got to take an action, so I'm going to side with the cult, because really that's my only choice now. Once you've done it, you go, well, I'm going to keep going in.
Surely that's bad design then. If the game works at 6 and it's designed to be worked at 6, why does it say 4? Or why does it not compensate for lower player counts?
This is that whole thing of, because it takes, I said, everything becomes interesting when multiple people do something, but not everyone does it. So if everyone does the building the lighthouse, it becomes boring. If everyone wants a cult, it becomes boring. I think you need enough players that you can go away and do things. But you're right, maybe it needs a mechanic in there which makes those things dummy if you haven't got enough players in.
But I mean, if you found it like that at 3, I can't even imagine what it'd be like at 2.
I wouldn't play this at 2. At 2, you can't side with the cult. I think that's the only caveat I remember from the rule book. I've not played it at 2. I have played it at 4, and there was more competition for stuff. But again, the cult wasn't. Everybody stayed on top of the cult. The cult was such a threat. We felt like it was such a threat that we all just took care of it. I said, because we all did it, it became very nothingy. And nobody was siding with it. No one was trying to promote it.
Interesting. You've kind of made me want to play it now, weirdly.
Weirdly, you've made me want to play the damn thing again.
Yeah.
I'd made my decision after yesterday that I wasn't going to play it, but now you've changed my mind.
There's something intriguing in that. Why is it not quite? Why are people walking away? It's fine. Fine is like a lack of emotion. That's when we use the word fine. You've got nothing. You've got no. You can't even be arsed to have an opinion.
Yeah.
Which is really weird because, I want to play it. I want to play this.
Which also I should point out, it's reviewing quite well on Board Game Geek.
What's the...
that means nothing.
I know what you mean, Andy, but crap games do generally tend to be reviewed crappy on Board Game Geek, I must admit. And it's got an average review of 7.8, which I think is quite high in this day and age. Yeah. So we're obviously doing something wrong.
What is the recommended player count on BGG for this?
Interestingly, recommended on is 3 and 4, which I don't. Which the most best is 4 player, and then recommended 5.
Interesting.
So it has best, recommended, and not recommended, and it says best at 4, recommended at 5. So yeah, I think this is a high player count game, which maybe we have not tapped into this game's full potential.
Yeah.
Maybe. weirdly, I am reminded of a zero punctuation review of Fable 3, where he's obviously, because Peter Molyneux was very big on open world and allowing the players to do lots of different things, which is obviously what Roy's just sort of potentially touched on when players want to do A, B, and C. And he came out with the phrase, "You can, but why would you want to?" You can, but why? There is no benefit to it.
Yeah, I think this is a game which, unfortunately, after a couple of plays, we've seen from the Matrix, and we've come to this epiphany during this discussion on the podcast, which I find fascinating, that maybe we need to warn people when we play this again. Don't all do the same thing, otherwise the game will be dull.
It's bad design. Because if you're allowing the players to basically break the game, or at least
no, they're not. The game is not broken.
Not break it, but not play it and then either enjoy it or play it the way the designer intended. That's bad design in my book. Because the players are playing the game within the mechanics of the game, and if it's not, I'm going to say working in inverted commas, then that's bad design.
It's interesting. At Aircon, we bumped into Richard from We're Not Wizards, and he really enjoyed this game. And he said using one of the expansions really helps. I wonder whether the expansion might add something new. Maybe it's one of those necessary expansions. What I think this game would really benefit from is some sort of mission, not like a mission or a goal. At the start of the game, you're given a card that says, this is what you should try and do. You get points if you do X thing, to give you some focus for your game.
It does that though.
Does it? What?
Yeah, on the back of your character card it says, you're good at this, do this.
Oh, this is me not reading the whole paragraph stuff.
Rory not reading the entire paragraph. Gentlemen, I have to pause this review for this moment. Right. One of the threat guards kicked off in last night's game, and we said, all right, so the card goes, does it? And Rory goes, oh, I'm not sure. Let me read the rules. She double-checked the rules, read through it, and goes, no, the card stays. That doesn't make any sense. That means we've got to defeat every card. Sure, the card goes, no, there's nothing in the rules here that says that the card has to go. So I said, pass me the rule book here, Rory. I'll just double-check while we're doing something else. Come to the rules. Rory hadn't read the last sentence of the paragraph, which said, remove the card and all the tokens from it.
Click.
Don't look. There's a lot of confusion over these clickers. A lot of confusion. People on Discord doing clicks as well. Right. Let's just clear this up. Right. Andy is convinced that he is always right. Okay? No one's going to argue me on that one, right? So, why do we need a clicker to check that Andy's right? We don't need to track Andy's right.
It's not that. It's that you're wrong.
Yes,
you're wrong.
I am always wrong. I think that's a well-established track. That's why there's a clicker for when I am right, because it's
so if you're
rare.
always wrong, that makes me always right. So the clickers are therefore defunct. We'll just live with it.
Because
hang on, this is like one of those puzzles.
It's really not.
He always lies.
Right,
he
again,
always tells the truth.
So Rory's clickers are defunct, and we can move on with our lives.
I feel like a little bit of my world has been shattered by the fact that Rory isn't conscientiously reading every sentence.
I get
because it's not a clipboard.
I got a little bit of my wrist slapped today from UK Games Expo for not reading the entire email I was sent about our live podcast.
I'm sensing a theme here.
Yeah,
I think we might have to remove him from his post.
I think we might.
I was marvelling at the fact I've managed to create content for the live podcast, and I finally managed to get the date right this year. But I failed to read the full email to confirm that we're doing it. So it's like, my ability to use a calendar has gone up, but my ability to read an email has gone down. I can't do both things.
Well, that's an age thing, mate. One thing comes in and you push another one out.
Oh, dear.
It's all good on your written review.
Oh, my annual appraisal. Oh, brilliant. It's coming up, actually, isn't it?
When did you join? It must have been about this time of year.
I joined just before the UK Games Expo in 2019, actually.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're coming up to 6 years on the podcast.
Right, well, that's Kinfire Council. By the sounds of it, we need to play this again.
Hang on. What? No, hang on. Hang on. No, we can't let that fly. 6 years? What kind of school of mathematics did you go to?
Or maybe it was 2020 that I joined. I can't remember when I joined the podcast.
Well, it wasn't 2020, mate, because that was COVID.
You are not showering yourself in glory here, Mr. Summers.
As established, we don't need a clicker for when I'm wrong.
Hey, the clickers have melted, mate. The Discord has given.
It's already gone round. It's looped around once. We've lapped it.
When did I join the podcast? May 2019, yeah. 7 years on this podcast.
7 years, mate. How old's your child? Is that pre-child?
He told us that tonight.
That's
He's
post-child.
9.
Logan is 9 and Marley is 7.
Yeah.
Because, Logan was born when we started playing D&D together.
Yeah, I was going to say that was
2016 we started playing, and that's because I remember playing some games with Logan asleep in my arms.
I remember doing the same as well with
Jai.
the little man. Yeah, that's what got us through those early years.
Yeah.
Is this going in?
Bloody hell. This is us having a moment. Back the fuck off, you two. Right? Me and Rory here having a moment, right? And you two just
Remember
waiting.
the good old days.
The seasoned professionals that Mr. Tudor and I are, obviously. Letting you two whimsical youngsters get away with this.
I am rounding this ramshackle nonsense off.
We've strayed so far, haven't we?
I'm sorry.
I'm going to say thank you for listening, but I
No
truly
one's
mean
still
it.
here.
Thank you for staying this long, yes.
Enduring it.
Thank you for enduring
Suffering
the Polyhedron
it.
Collider Cast. Don't forget, if you want to reminisce with these two old men, come join us on the Discord server where there's all kinds of chat, and just block Phil, it's easier.
I have. I haven't really.
Also, we'd love you to give us a review on iTunes or Spotify. You can also find us all over the internet: Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, Board Game Geek Guild 2726.
That's a lot of media.
And don't forget to join our sponsors, eToys World, where you'll get 10% off your first order, and there's a link in the show notes. But until next time, happy gaming.
Ta-ra.
Cheerio.
Bye-bye.